When you think about a confident leader, what's the first thing you think about? Maybe somebody that's calm under pressure, someone who communicates clearly, someone who doesn't second guess every decision, or maybe even someone who leads with wisdom and not emotion. And maybe if you're honest, there's a small part of you that thinks, that's not me yet. I'm still getting there. But here's something I want to gently challenge you today. Confident leadership is not a personality type. It's a daily practice. Yes, I know that we've always heard the saying that person's a natural born leader. Where in actual fact, there's no such thing as a natural born leader in my opinion. And a person who is very good at leadership was taught to be very good at leadership. And the leaders you admire, they are not confident because everything comes naturally to them. They are confident because of what they consistently do. And like I mentioned before, what they've been taught. So today I want to show you and I want to teach you 5 daily habits of confident Christian leaders. The things that they do quietly, consistently, and intentionally that build grounded confidence over time. So let's do it. Welcome to the Women of Faith in Leadership podcast, where faith and leadership come together. I'm Rika, Whelan, and each week you'll discover biblical wisdom and practical leadership strategies to help you lead with confidence and honor God in every area of your leadership. Let's get started. Now, before we dive in, if you've ever thought to yourself, I know I need to have that difficult conversation, even if it's a difficult conversation or not, I need to have that conversation. I just don't know exactly what to say. Or you think, I don't know how the person's going to react, or I don't know how to respond in a difficult situation. Because often 5 hours after the conversation, we think, I should have said that, or I could have said that. I want to tell you something. I want to tell you about something that I created called the Confident Conversation Blueprint, previously known as the Difficult Conversation Script Pack. Because the one thing I've learned over the last couple of years, speaking to you guys as the listeners of the show and myself as a leader in the past, is that having those difficult conversations can be paralyzing. It can be extremely, extremely tricky for us because we just have to step over that line and we just do not know how to do it. The Confident Conversation Blueprint gives you those practical scripts, biblical wisdom, and step-by-step guidance you need to help you approach those difficult conversations with calm confidence instead of anxiety or overthinking. Because confidence does not come from personality. It comes from preparation. I need you to hear this well. Confidence does not come from personality. Yes, some extroverts are more confident than others. But if you prepare well as a leader, you can become confident as well. So let's prepare together well through the Confident Conversation Blueprint. Simply go to womenoffaithinleadership.com/conversations. Now, here's where many leaders get stuck. They think confidence should show up before they lead, before the meeting, before the conversation, before the decision. So when they don't feel confident, they assume something is wrong. They start overthinking. They hesitate, they avoid. But confidence does not usually show up first. It grows through what you do repeatedly. If I need to learn a skill, the first time when I'm going to do that skill, I'm going to be pretty pathetic at it, unless it's beginner's luck, okay? But I need to practice that skill to get really, really good at it. And that's the same thing with confidence, is you need to practice different daily habits, different skills to get to the point of being confident. So if you're not confident yet, I need you to understand that this is something that you can learn. It's a skill that you can learn. So that's why today we're talking about these 5 habits or these daily rhythms that will support you in becoming a confident leader. So here are 5 things that you can start doing as of today. All right, number 1, they start the day anchored, not rushed. Now, how often have you started your day where you just wanted to sleep in a little bit, or you thought, okay, I need to get to work. I need to go and prepare for this meeting. But then that means is that you rush to work, you are in a hurry, and I did it so often that I would get up 4 o'clock in the morning and rush to work because I knew I just had so much work to get done. I wanted to get there before everybody else, before the questions came in, before everybody started bothering me, so that I could not do my leadership role. But what I missed in that space was starting my day with God. And taking even just a few minutes, dedicated minutes, to start your day in scripture, in prayer, and in truth can really help your mind to get grounded early in the day and help you to set yourself up for success for the rest of the day, and to help you to have a steadier day as well. And what I would suggest even further, a further strategy to that, is have predictable time that you have. So for example, the first 10 minutes of your scripture time or of your prayer time with the Lord, you're going to read a scripture. Then the next 5 minutes, you're going to meditate over that scripture. Then you're going to pray over that scripture, and then you're going to journal over that scripture. So make it a predictable flow so that every single morning when you open the Bible, you follow a plan, for example, which is easier to predict as well than just opening the Bible and hoping for a miracle that the Lord is going to show you a verse, okay? I've done that many times as well, where I just open the Bible and I hope that the Lord would talk to me through that. But by following a plan, it's actually a bit more predictable. And when you open the scripture for the day, you're going to read through the scripture, meditate through the scripture, pray through the scripture, and then journal through the scripture. What does the Lord want to say to you about that scripture, and how does it apply to your leadership? So that is daily rhythm number 1 that I'd like for you to start implementing if you would like to become a confident leader. Number 2, they clarify what matters most. So confidence leaders don't try and do everything in one day. The other day I walked into work and my colleague had written 3 A4 pages of to-dos on her to-do list. And I thought to myself, whoa, that is a lot for one person to do. And I reminded her, remember, you don't have to do everything on that list. You have to delegate. Number 1, what can I do for you? And number 2, let's see which of our other colleagues can help you, because this is not all on you. She was adamant that it was all her work, because certain things on that list were part of her profile that she has to deal with. However, if there was some administrative support or something that somebody could prepare for her before the time, then that needed to be done. So sometimes as leaders, we try and take up everything upon ourselves, but we can't do that. So let's rather focus on identifying what actually matters today. Okay, what needs to get done today? Ask yourself, what needs my attention? My attention. This thing that's on my list, can that go to Rika's attention? Can that go to Sarah's attention? Can that go to this person's attention? Who can I delegate this to that has more knowledge about this than me? Okay, and everything else that remains is yours. Then, what decision matters most? Okay, go on your list and then go and prioritize. Which of these things need to happen first? Maybe there's a deadline. Maybe the board of directors is waiting for you. Maybe your line manager is waiting for you. So definitely go and have a look at prioritizing the first thing in the morning. So you've done your scripture. Now you've gotten to work. You can even do this at home if you want to. Go and prioritize your day so that by the time you get to work, everything's already prioritized. And then the third question you can ask yourself is, where do I need to lead intentionally today? So go and have a look at your diary, see what meetings you have, and then go and see, are all of these meetings relevant? Do I need to be there? And where do I need to lead intentionally today? Because sometimes meetings can literally be an email. We all know those meetings where we have to sit through for 2 hours, and this literally could have been an email. Or if you're leading a meeting, that could have been an email. Please cancel that meeting and make it an email so that you can have that time to lead intentionally in your role. All right. Number 3, they prepare for conversations before they happen. Now, this is something I've been talking about a lot lately on the podcast, is preparing well before a difficult conversation. Confident leaders don't walk into difficult conversations just hoping for the best. What they do is they prepare well. And that's what I want you to do, is I want you to be able to prepare well before difficult conversations. Quite often, if we look on our diary, we see meetings that we've booked in. Or in the back of our mind, we know that there are meetings that we need to have, one-on-one meetings or difficult conversation meetings, but we just postpone and postpone and postpone. I'm too busy today. I'll do this Friday. I'll do this. We leave those bigger projects and those bigger things always for Friday. And come Friday, we never have the capacity to deal with them. So schedule all your difficult conversations for a Monday morning or for a Tuesday morning, so that come Monday morning or the weekend, preferably probably not the weekend. So let's make a Tuesday. So come Monday, you've got the Monday to prepare for your difficult conversation. Come Tuesday morning, then you're having that conversation. You're not postponing it. It's going to be 8 o'clock in the morning, first thing that you do, so that it's done and dusted. Okay, do not leave it for a Friday. Nobody wants to have a difficult conversation on a Friday. Then, when you prepare for your conversation, think about what needs to be said. Remember, we're not going to talk in riddles. We're not going to talk fluffy talk. We're not going to beat around the bush. We're going to say what needs to be said. Okay, prepare how you're going to say and what you are going to say. What I did is I would literally write every single word for word down of my conversation. I would write it down. Some people prefer like shorter notes. I did not, because I got really nervous before a difficult conversation. So I would go and write word for word. And then I would tell the person, if I'm reading off my notes, that's because I want to make sure that I'm not getting off track. This is a very important conversation that we're having right now, and therefore I had to prepare for it. Then the last thing is, what outcome are you hoping for? You need to go and write down what is the outcomes of this, because the person will not know how to improve or how to improve their performance, or, for example, if you're firing them, they need to know the outcomes of that. Okay, so you need to go and prepare very, very well, step by step. Go and lay out the conversation so that you can follow those points. If the person then interrupts you and tries to fight back, all you can say is, I know you're feeling frustrated right now, but if we can just stick to the points, then I am going to give you an opportunity to talk and to have your say. Because you always want to give that person an opportunity to say, what's your take on this? How do you see this? This is how I see it. Well, how do you see it? And you can go and prepare for different responses about, let's say, if they get angry, they get upset, they get emotional. You can definitely go and prepare for what you are going to say in a situation like that. Okay, people are the most unpredictable thing in the world, but a difficult conversation can be predictable, because if you go and run every scenario through your mind about how they could possibly react, then you will be prepared. Okay, this is where confidence comes from. Not from personality, but from preparation. Okay, number 4, they check their emotional response. Now, throughout the day, confident leaders are aware of their internal reactions. Okay, sometimes we get really frustrated with an employee. Sometimes we get really red-faced. So what I want you to do is I want you to go and have a look. When do you feel triggered? When do you feel frustrated? And when do you feel pressured during the day with your team? So I want you to go and identify those things so that throughout the day, you know when you are feeling these things so that you can take charge of them. I often teach my kids, do not let your emotions control you. You have to control your emotions. So similar as an adult, we have to learn to control our own emotions. So instead of reacting immediately, you can pause, you can process the moment, you can then choose your response. If you've got some time available, then I would say pause and pray, and then come back to the person and respond. Quite often in emails, we want to be keyboard warriors and we want to just immediately type back a livid response or a very clever response. But don't be a keyboard warrior. Go and pray about your response and really go and ask the Lord for discernment about what you need to do to respond correctly. Now, I want to quickly share a story that was really funny. In my first year of this director's role that I was in, somebody had sent me an email that said, because I had written, in my opinion, this is what we should do. The person then responded to me and said, well, your opinion does not matter in this instance. Let's just look at the facts. And so I decided to be a keyboard warrior and I responded to this person. But I scheduled the email out for the next morning. The next morning I woke up and I was like, I should not have scheduled that email. I'm going to go cancel that scheduled email. But I did it on my phone. Okay. I could go on my phone and I could go and delete that scheduled email. But what I didn't know is that it also synced to my Outlook online. And so that scheduled email still went out, whether I had canceled it on my phone or not. That was a lesson I had to learn. So it's that email still went out. Keyboard warrior Rika was still there sending that email to that person. Oh gosh, that was not good, because then that person still got that keyboard warrior response from me, and then I had to go and deal with that afterwards. So if you really want to be a keyboard warrior, maybe schedule it for the next morning, and then when you wake up the next morning and realize, oh yeah, I should not have done that, then go and cancel it. Okay, or leave it in drafts. I think that's an even better option, is just leave it in drafts. Do not send it, just go and sleep over it. Okay. And then the fifth one is they end their day reflecting, not just moving on. So a lot of the time, leaders will say to me, but Rika, I do not have time at the end of the day to reflect over my day. But you know, the best CEOs, the best leaders out there will reflect at the end of the day. John Maxwell is a big believer and person who teaches about self-reflection. And something that he does, for example, is he will go and read a book through. He says, I read the book through and then I mark it. So all the most important things that happen. And then when I read it the second time through, the book marks me. And so that's what you can go and do with your calendar. Go and look through your calendar, go and reflect through your day, go and make those markings. And then when you go through it a second time, or even the next day, see, how did this day that you had reflect you? How did it mark you? Was it positive? Was it negative? And what could you do differently tomorrow to make sure that you don't have a similar day? We always go and have a look, what's the good, the bad, and the ugly? And then how the good, the bad, and the ugly can affect us the following day. If you made some mistakes, tomorrow you're going to fix it. If you did something really well today, do it again tomorrow. So really go and think about, where did you lead with wisdom and where do you still need some extra growth? And it's not about criticizing yourself. It's actually about intentional growth, because confidence grows when you learn from your own leadership, but also the leadership of Jesus. And so don't just ignore what you are seeing right in front of you. Ask the Lord, pray for the Lord for discernment, ask the Lord for wisdom, because it's in those moments that you grow as a leader and that you grow confidently as a leader. Now, if you've been listening to this episode and you're thinking, I want to become that type of leader that Rika's talking about, I want to encourage you to take a look at the Confident Conversation Blueprint, because one of the daily habits of confident leaders is preparation. That was number 3, which we spoke about. They don't wait until emotions are high and pressure is mounting. Why? Because they prepare before the time. They're ready for these conversations when they do happen. And inside the blueprint, you'll find practical scripts, biblical encouragement, and simple frameworks that will help you know what to say, how to say it, and how to approach it differently than what you would have done before. Because before you might have been reacting over emotionally. Well, after the blueprint, you're going to be so prepared that you're going to be able to act confidently. Will you still be nervous? Yes. Nervousness is normal, and I was nervous for a very long time whilst having these conversations. But confident leadership is not built on trying. It's built on preparation. So simply go to womenoffaithinleadership.com/conversations to learn more about the blueprint. Now, I want to say in closing that you do not need to be a completely different person to lead with confidence. You don't need to be louder. You don't need to be stronger or even more naturally assertive. You simply need to become more intentional about how you lead every day, because God is already in the process of equipping you. But it doesn't help that He equips you and you decide not to actually put on the armor of God and equip yourself. Because He's already started that work in you. You just need to accept it and take the responsibility and do your part. And if you start building these small daily rhythms, you will begin to notice a shift. You will start gaining more clarity, you'll start being more calm, and you'll start gaining more confidence, which is what you actually want and need. And not everything of this is going to be easy, okay? But what will become easy is that you will start your day grounded, because you are growing and you are becoming the leader that God has called you to be. So go out there, lead with grace, lead with intention, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts? It would mean so much to me to read your feedback. Also, it would really bless me big if you shared this episode with a fellow leader who might benefit from hearing today's message. And remember, put on the armor of God daily and walk by faith and not by sight. I'll meet you back on Monday for another episode.